is that ultimately our happiness and our sorrows can only emanate from one place, who we are being. And I always say in most classes I take and trainings I do outside here, that lifts me for me, that makes me very powerful. That if I have to wait for Oge for me to be happy, it leaves me weak. If I have to wait for a raise in my company to feel that I am doing well, it makes me weak. But if I come from the position that it all depends on me, that my what I'm experiencing in life is a function of my being, not the salary I'm being paid, not who I said offended me, and I'm waiting for the person to say sorry, it makes me take charge. It makes me to begin to think of what I could do. If I created this, but I want to create something else. Now, if I didn't create it, and I am blaming somebody, blaming my nation, blaming the president, blaming my employer, blaming an outside force, it makes me really weak. So we'll delve into that. But first, the article that accompanied today's class, which I'll be glad to see it, to have as many as possible give their views on the article that we are using as a basis for today's class. But for your model of reality, there is nothing wrong with you. So, who want to give us a quick summary? The floor is open. One of the things we've learned here is that we learn by participating, we learn by talking, not by listening. So we all read the article, just short, a very short one. Still waiting. Okay, Mr. Adunayo, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, sir. Thank you once more. And thank you to everyone who also shows up for our sessions. So, I went through the article. The article is one of the chapters from our coach's book of his second book, which is however you
How you tell
describe,
it,
however you tell it,
the
the
story you
story.
made up.
Yes, story you made up. So I've had the privilege of also going through the book. So it just reminded us that, which is something we have learned earlier in the year, which is life is nothing and semantics. Just saying that you are the one who gives interpretation to the event and not necessarily the event in itself. And there was a remarkable story in that book, which we have heard, several occasions about how someone junior to a CEO of a bank spoke to him in a very condescending manner, and how that caused the person a lot of mental pain. And when he expressed it to the author of the author of the book explained it to him to say, look, it's not what was said that is causing you pain. That what is causing you pain is the interpretation you are giving. That if you give it the interpretation, which is it is okay for that person to speak to me in this way and manner, then that mental pain will lift off. And how that was what the person did, and eventually, almost immediately, the pain lifted off. Which is, we have a concept of reality, we have a way we see things, which has been as a result of our life experiences, things we have passed through. And so we have what we call reality, or what is reasonable to us. And so every things that we hold or things that affect our mental state, or things that get to us, are things that question, or things that pass through the filter of what we consider reasonable or acceptable to us. And so for us to pass through that time, or that area when it causes us mental pain, is for us to give the right interpretation to that event. That at all times we must be willing. Well, my own added is, at all times an event is neutral. You give that event interpretation, and the interpretation you give to it is what will make you either get into it or get out of it. And I'll use something that happened earlier in the week to illustrate my own position. I really am very grateful for these sessions. And I've just been, in fact, when I read the article, I forwarded it to one of my team members because something happened at work. So I have young people at work in my team, and they are young, they are vibrant. I know they are going places, but there's the youthfulness that enters into their heart, and youthfulness not from a bad way, but in giving life the proper interpretation. So young people haven't, well, I won't say they haven't, but because life, the amount of years you spend on the earth, which is not all the case, but having life experiences also helps you, because you pass through life and then you see things, you give the right perspective. You get to meet people like Coach Tunde, you learn, you add to your arsenal. So they haven't had that, and I've taken as part of my responsibility to accelerate that by putting these things to them, so that they don't have to spend time living to learn. They can learn from these experiences quickly. So something happened in the office. I am leaving where I am. I'm going somewhere else. So I had a conversation with the head of my organization before putting in my paper. He wasn't available for a while, so I had to look for him. I had to go outside of the office to look for him. So when I expressed it to him and I told him, immediately while I was talking with him, he sent out a mail to the head of human resources to begin to source for a replacement for me. And he told me while I was with him, he said, "Oh, I'm sending the mail out right now." He said, "Thank you for telling me ahead, because this could have really been, this could have blindsided me. So I'm sending the mail ahead right now. I need them to close out on getting someone in as quickly as possible." And I didn't feel any way. In fact, I did not. So but my team members really wanted to know how the conversation would turn out. So when I gave them that, the young one said, "How can he? Couldn't he wait for you to leave the place? Why will you be sending it when you are there? That's not good." I said, no. That's the interpretation you are choosing to give. If he told me or he did not tell me, it does not matter. As the head, the reason why the British monarchy says the king is dead, long live the king, is because there's no space. You don't leave room for leadership. Someone must step in immediately. So a king is dead, agreed, but long live the king, which is referring to the new person who has stepped into the throne. So you must look at it from that perspective. And there's no reason for me to take it on my emotions. It is just leadership, and taking into context the other conversations I had with him outside of that, it would be difficult to give it an emotional response to say, that means I'm replaceable. No. Of course, you should be replaced. Everybody who's building a system should build a system such that people should be replaced. And so when I read this, I forwarded it to one of my very young, vibrant, who was really pushing the agenda, to read it, to say, look, that event was neutral. The interpretation you are giving to it is what reflects yourself, not necessarily what the event meant. Yes, you may decide to say, why did he send it when I was there? And you may be correct for your own interpretation, and that interpretation is fine with you. Okay, but you can also give it a different interpretation, which is, this is him doing what he needs to do as the leader of the organization and having to ensure that things run and things are workable. And that also gives you some comfort. And so that was, just reinforced my thought process that I during my conversation, and reminded us of the need to always give events the appropriate interpretation. And the appropriate interpretation may not be the same for everyone. But the most important thing is it helping you be in the right mental state to do the right actions that are in alignment with your being? Are you being the right person when you interpret it? I think that's the most fundamental question, or most fundamental question to answer when interpreting events. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adunayo. Thank you very much. So that was a lot of light on the article. Okay, Harold, the floor is yours. You're muted. Harold.
Yeah, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
And good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, sorry, I'm at work. I'm behind the scene, so I won't be on camera. Well, let me. This is a very important uh, article, Coach. Thank you very much. Okay.
You're welcome.
Before I start, I want to tell what happened last week. I was in a training called Rest and Dare to Care, because I work for a training company and we deal with about 400,000 customers. So they want us to improve on the way we care for the people. So everybody's compulsory, everybody must attend. And the coach was asking me, what do you mean by respect? So to everybody, so if we were talking about respect, I say me, respect is, honoring your elders, you see what elders, say my background, you see your elder, you degrade for them, you greet them, in a respectful manner. Say, but and the white will say, what is that one got to do with respect? We're talking about maybe respect for your colleague, and they say no. I say elders, you respect them. I say don't look at your elder in the eye, and you talk to them like that, and you say no or this thing, or you question them why, daddy, why? I say, but here is is different, and they said, no, it's different here. I said, I've seen it. The way my kids talk to me is different from the how I talk to my dad. I don't ask my daddy, why, papa, why. I say that is, and if when I brought my reasoning, from Africa down to Europe to train my children the way my father trained me, I said I had a lot of problems. So so I had to remove that clog of how parents should deal with children. I have to see it from the way they see it here. Because the child is growing up here, is going to school. You see the way the children in the school, their colleagues, they talk to their teachers, and they're listening. It's different from how we dealt with our teachers. Our teacher can flog you and do anything as to do, but here the teacher cannot flog the student. So it's different. So at first it gave me pain, but I said, if I have to live life, I have to pull that reasoning of how society, the children should parents should treat children. I have to pull that thing, and that's only what happened to the CEO. No, Bale, the way we treat leaders there in Africa. You see your MD, you Dobale. In fact, in accounting firm, when I was doing accounting, they said, if you see a partner climbing the staircase and you are a junior trainee coming in, you will stay. You don't two of you that don't climb staircase together. Who on you? You won't leave that company. That's accounting firm. That is how respect and discipline is very strict there. So when you have that type of mental, that orientation, that reasoning, and you want to apply it to a different culture, you will have pain, serious pain. And that is why this thing is, and that's why this thing is there. And what I like, Coach, from what you said is that these reasons are debris that reduce the flow of your life, the very source of the mental pain in your life. So if you remove the reasoning, then you will have, if you remove that reasoning, then you will that pain will go off. So if I start seeing I'm training my child the way I was brought up, that reasoning, you must respect your daddy, and your daddy, respect your boutique for your daddy, I know those things. Yeah, and you enforce it here. Yeah, and you want to enforce it, you will get yourself paid. If our social services will come in and even remove your children, just take your time because they keep on they ask them, did your daddy flog you or the moment they say, and children they don't tell lies, they will tell and they start investigating you. So And why is this thing necessary for me? Is because you want to think back your source of power. Because in this life, we need to get to where we want to go to. I was listening to Sikos and he said, "Is what is destiny also? What is people's life predetermined or something? Is it are you born destined from birth to be something?" The woman said, "No, you have the power to determine your destiny, and you can pre-invent it. You can predetermine it. You know, and that is where the declaration of power comes in. And it's there because everybody has winning strategies. Your winning strategies, your depends on your childhood, your background, and those things. You know, so if your strategy, if you want to change your strategy, then you change the filters, the things that you see, the things that how you interpret life. And that is where this article is very important. The man interpreted his life and respect from the model, how he grew up. And the moment they told him to remove that reasoning, to remove it, I was designed in my mind to be a different. The moment they told the GM that pain can be removed. If he assume that is the way the GM is supposed to talk to him, that is the way the GM is supposed to talk to him. If he believes that, if he remove the reasoning from that initial cultural way to how this is man is supposed to talk to him, the pain will leave, and that is exactly what happened. Yeah. So I want to just leave it for now and assume that my point is carried.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Aaron. All right. Who has read the article that wants to shed light so that we can move on? But if we don't have any more, we'll take the two that have spoken. Okay.
So the part where they said that we have an inbuilt dictionary, it makes sense because we didn't just drop from anywhere. We have come a long way in life, and so many things we have passed through, have had impact in our lives that that we refer to, that helps, that takes decision for us, whether consciously or unconsciously. So here they said 95% of the time the decisions that we make is coming from that inbuilt dictionary. So if we really want a change, then it is that dictionary that is inbuilt in us that we need to start working on so that we can begin to see things the way we should see things, so that our being can fully materialize on how we want it to, how it should be, not just because it's driven by what we have learned in the past that are not, the real, that's not the good thing, or that's taking us out of, the reality of life, So that inbuilt dictionary part, we should not forget it. He say, nothing has imprisoned us like reasoning. You reason a lot of things. If you remove that part of it, then you will be a better person. But for the reasoning, the event would have come and gone. You understand? If not the way you are reasoning it, that event, it will come, it will go. So don't use your reasoning to overpower, to envelop everything. Just cover it up with your own internal reasoning. It's still directing us to that inbuilt kind of a lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Who else has something to say on the article? Okay, let me ask this question for those of us. I don't know how those of us who know about. Okay, Jane, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I think I really like this article because it's one of those things that uh, helps us. I keep going back to a question that Queen asked in one of the sections. He said, how do you really change this being? This is one of the tools in that, like Harriet said, she said that dictionary that has been built by the life experiences, by what we have gone through. That is why when two people experience exactly the same thing or hear exactly the same statement, they read completely two different meaning to it. The same statement, but both people interpret it differently because of the experiences, because of the dictionary, because of the being. Some people will say because of your core identity. Now, this is the opportunity for us to change it. We now know that that is what makes us give the interpretation we give. So this class is kind of teaching us that you can change that interpretation. You grew with it. You were a child most of the time. Those things were handed over to you. Your being, your identity was built for you, whether consciously or unconsciously, maybe by the people around you. Like Harold said, we grew up in Africa to know that you can't call your elders by their name. You can't look at your elders in the eye when they are talking. So you have grown with that. It has formed part of your being. But now we know we can change it. We can begin to deliberately give different interpretations. And the more we do that, that is how we are shifting our being to become something else. That is how we begin to shift our being to become, that is where the transformation takes place. And that's why I like the quote. He said, thought comes before feelings. The interpretation, that is your thoughts. You begin to think, this is what the person means. And it makes you to feel the way you feel. If you don't like the way you feel, you need to change the thought. You need to change the interpretation. You need to stop yourself. You need to ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this after I heard this thing? If you sit down and say, okay, it's because I'm giving this interpretation, it's because of this thought, change it. And you find out that that feeling will go automatically. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Coach,
Okay.
please, I
Okay.
just want to add something.
Go
Coach,
ahead.
please. Yes, thank you very much for everybody that has spoken. You see, this changing, eh? It will be difficult for 100% change, because I remember a situation. I don't know how I can change it. My son had a girlfriend that was raised, a mixed race girl, and her mom is Oyibo, the father is Nigerian. And then the girl once called me by my name. I told her, no, no, no. I can't, no. So whatever it is that I had in my growing up, you cannot change in that kind of situation. And I will not pretend. I called her. I said, see, we don't call elders by names here. I am the mother of your boyfriend. You have to
Mommy,
call.
Isaac, and mommy.
Hey. So I just told her straight away. She did not argue with me. You understand? So there is not everything me I will change for. Good. We will change many, many things which are not right, but it may not be that 100% change if I want to be happy. Because tomorrow now, maybe if they marry that kind of person, then you come and be calling my name anyhow in the house. For what? A child that I can born. When my own children cannot call me by my own name, you see. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But at least one thing you agree with Harriet is that the pain that you are feeling, the discomfort, whatever you want to call it, is caused by you and not the person who called you by your first name. Do you agree? Do you
Yes,
agree with that?
yes, yes, I agree with that. But I don't want more pains.
Okay, you see, let me say something that Neville Goddard said on that. Let me just check. Sorry, let me go to Google. Okay. So I'm reading from the Bible, but Neville Goddard was using it in a funny way. Ephesians 5:13. He says, but everything exposed to the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes light. And that is why it is said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will give you light. Now, one thing Neville Goddard says about uncovering your being, he said, when you become aware of it, he now quoted the Bible. He's a very secular guy that we hardly quote a Bible verse. He now quoted this Ephesians 5:16. So when you bring it to the light, its power to harm you is disarmed. Now, even if you did not change it, but you just see this pain is coming from my African upbringing. I remember when I was in Lagos Business School, when I was a student there. So Professor Patutomi was talking about culture. He said there was a Nigerian who has an office in London, and his secretary is a Yoruba guy. His secretary, another Yoruba girl. They are both in London. They both live in London there. He said once he came home and came with the secretary. He says the secretary doesn't call him by the first name. The secretary calls him by his first name in London. He said when they got to Nigeria, as their bags were going through what do they call these trucks that carry bags? He said the secretary just called him and said, John, your bag is out. The man was shocked. Just called her. Wah. Don't ever try it in Nigeria. Huh? I'm a traditional chief. Don't try it. You can call me John in London, not in Nigeria. So Patutomi says that shows you the hold of culture on us. But when you are aware of it now, so I remember working in England and very junior people, I mean, far junior to my daughter. Tunde, I don't know. It's all right. But just once you know where the pain is coming from, I am the one creating it. You will be fine. Don't worry. It doesn't matter whether you want to change it or not. Jane, you are raising your hand. A quick one.
I just want to comment on that. Sometimes when we say change, the change is not necessarily you changing your culture. Like Mr. Tunde said, you realize that that pain is being caused by the fact you feel this, she shouldn't be calling my name. Rather, you are establishing what you want. It doesn't necessarily need to cause you pain for you to establish this is what I want. Say hello. Oh, I appreciate the fact that you're dating my son and the culture around. This is the culture in this house. If you have to date my son, you can't call me by my name. You can still tell her without feeling the pain. That is what you want, and that is what you want. It's when you begin to now dwell on it and say, if we did Nigeria, will this girl call me my name? It begins to hurt you. But when you tell yourself that, okay, this is the culture here. However, this is not the culture I want. I'm addressing it. So you address it and move on. It's like one of the speakers said, the reasoning behind it. Instead of you reasoning, why are you calling my name? You tell me, okay, this is the culture here, but this is the culture I want in my house. I'm going to address this. You address this and move on. That is what you want. But it shouldn't cause you pain. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. So thank you. A question I just want to ask to be helped here, so that we'll go into some of the things we didn't conclude last week. Who wants to tell us, who can just give us a brief talk, 5 minutes, how AI works? And AI is becoming popular. And I wrote my book, realizing mental resilience, AI was just coming in. Then in 1 or 2 or 3 chapters on how AI worked then. So, but now I think some more knowledge, AI models. So what's the difference between an AI model that is used in medicine and an AI model that is used in engineering? Omojebe, your hand is up. The floor is yours.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Good morning, my teammate. I wanted to go to African family culture, but make I digress to AI now. All right. AI is just a trained machine, a machine that you trained. So just like your web, you train the machine, and the machine will give you the output of what we have put in there. So the much information you give to that machine is what you get back also. As at now, we have 3 types of AI in phases. The current one we are using is called the narrow AI. And we have another phase, I forgot that phase. Then the third phase is the super AI. Now, the narrow AI is just everything you put inside is just 40% of the human brain. Then by 2040, then the second phase will be we have about 60% of the human brain. Then 2060, that is when you will have AI that can generate 100% human brain. So that's what they are doing. So it's just like a machine that you put into. And actually, it was a code that was, this AI we have now has been in existence for about 60 years. It started around 1952 by Alan Turing, the one that decoded the Enigma, German Enigma in the World War. So that's when the United States Air Force tried to organize through Massachusetts Institute that they should come together and they should ensure that they get a machine that could decode or just to so that in terms of war they could use it for that reason, and they begin to develop it. And recently it is when they got the real breakthrough of AI, and they were able to get a machine that could do that. Now all the AI, they are the same. It's just the information you give to it. Now if you are having a medical AI devoted to medicine, you will have to put information for medicine to it. So the AI itself will go to other sites like website. Now the machine will go to other websites because you attach it to it. You begin to bring the information of medicine. That's why it's called GPT, is generative pre-trained, which means the AI has been trained on what to pick because you have cloned it to think of only medical information. That is what it will pick for you. So if I clone this one, if I put this my AI to think on only engineering, it will only pick engineering information for me. If I program this AI to pick only on linguistic, it will only pick on linguistic. Then if I program it to pick on anything, it will pick on anything it wants. So that's why all this thing we have the I forgot how they call it, where you put things chronologically, that's the way we call it in that terms also. So, but now the AI, I'm very careful with using AI. Because AI now cannot give us 100%, because I'm working on a paper on that to be published. I am against it because it's just 40%. And as a journalist, I'm working against it because I was asked, why are you working against it? I said, because if you are not careful, if you read properly, there may be some information that may not be properly reviewed because the AI is speaking from different sources. It may not pick on a peer review source. You may just pick on maybe an assignment on and throw it to you, and you pick it and find out that maybe that data is not validated. And as a journalist, when we're taught in, especially in science reporting, that's the most delicate one. Apart from religion, it is very delicate because if you are going to write on science reporting and you give a wrong information on the dose, definitely, and you report that and somebody just pick it and read that news or that magazine, you have killed somebody. So we have to be careful when we report. So AI now is developing. This is 2040, we get 60%. It's 2060 that you can actually bank on AI. So it's just the information you give to it that they give back to you. That's just about AI. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so the reason I asked that question is just for us to have another simplified view of what we are trying to look at. So you say it is pre-trained. So we are all pre-trained by the context we are coming from. So what AI, they call it artificial intelligence. Our own is what? Natural intelligence. So this one, we are the one that is trying to create a human being. And I saw online, I don't know if it's really new, a hospital now with robots that are pre-trained doctors. And if you ask them the question, they can tell you, they've given all the information that doctors will pull out from to be able to, they've given it to them. So it's pre-trained. So we are all pre-trained. The suffering and the joy comes from the pre-training. Remember one, what's the name of this woman? An article of her and the quote we reviewed from New York Times, I think sometimes in July, that talking about dating apps, that many people are complaining about the dating apps, that they are not giving them the husband or the wife they want. He said, you forget that you are the one that sets the filters. That if you are not getting the kind of wife you want, go and change the filters. You are the one who selected the criteria. Tall man, fat, Africa, should know how to speak Chinese. Then it came out. It used all of that information and it generated all the husbands available for you or wife using that content. Now you started complaining, but I've forgotten the name of the woman. Then she said, it's not the outcome. It is the filters that you should go and change. So if you want more outcome and better one, go back again. Must the person really come from Nigeria? If you say no, then you just see, would bring out 20,000 women again. But you were in the first place, you said the husband should come from Nigeria. Maybe you even went further. It should come from Osun State. Now, when you deleted Osun State, you just saw 20,000 more men. When you deleted Nigeria, 1 million men or 1 million women. The same thing, that is what is happening to us. So we are pre-trained AIs. We are pre-trained by culture. Something in the article. I won't think the way a Muslim thinks. I don't think the way a Muslim thinks. I don't think the way a Russian thinks. I don't think the way an American thinks. So when I meet them, and there are some words, especially not much in the UK, but in America, most of the times I've been to the US, there are words they use that sometimes you must be aware that it is coming from who you are being. It looks offensive, but that is word that they use to play in the US. They speak them and everybody's laughing. You say, oh, you can say moron, and everybody's like, you call me moron. Depending on how your own upbringing, now then call me. Many times we have a way that we should be talked to, the way we should resign. Something Mr. Odunayo was saying. So he said, oh, I'll just send an email to this thing now. And he went back, his direct report was saying, wow, how can he do like this? Because we are emotional creatures. Our AI will bring, I remember when I was resigning one of the jobs I was working in 2019. As soon as I told my line manager, he ran to the HRO. Oh, the guy don't finally resign. Quick, let's look for who will replace him. Somebody who heard the conversation now came to me and said, they are rejoicing. And I wanted to fill one car. I now said, Tunde. And then I was writing my book, Realizing Mental Resilience. I said, Tunde, you are expecting, and not all they will say you are a genius. Why? I said, what do you want? It always comes down to that. Now, I was listening to a cartoon once. He said, what we are really teaching is not personal development. He said it's personal destruction. Is that not hard? He said, don't tell people you are doing. He said, they ask you what you are doing. He said it's personal development. See, but if you really want to help people, the work is not personal development. The work is personal destruction. He said, I don't know whether he has moved to the US now. When he was not living in the US, he said he traveled to the US. He said he knows they invited him for a conference where he's going to do personal destruction. So when he got to the airport, and the visa people at the airport, they said, what do you do? What are you coming to do here? He says, so I'm a public speaker. I do personal development. A company in the US has invited me to do personal development for their staff. He started laughing in the, I think he's on YouTube. He said, it wasn't personal development I was there to do. See, there is nothing about the human being you need to develop. See, because most of the programs are what is causing us problems. He said, the problems, how can I go and develop what is causing them problems? He said, it is the thinking, it is the filters. He says, but what he's going to teach them is personal destruction. How to remove these layers of beliefs, how to be talked to, how to be this. I think I've listed some of the, in trying to uncover my being, I want to be talked to nicely. I want to be talked to the way, I want them to talk to me the way I want them to talk to me. They are never going to. They are going to talk to me the way they are, not the way I am. I want people to like me. No, they will be who they are. Whatever I want from them is up to me. Now, once my registry of uncovering my being is increasing. Now, increasing that registry is not, it's not that sometimes I can even really change it. Something Tracy Gore said, so what's the importance of learning where you are coming from, the context? He said, don't take, the context is not for you to take another person's context. And sometimes I really look at some of my friends, some of us who are here know one of my very good friends, Sam, and we've been together for 42 years now. They call us twins. And you could see the way he's more audacious, he's more, how will I put it? He's more assertive. Now, it's not for me to take who his own personality or his context is. It's for me, this is quoting Tracy Goss now, he says, it's for you to come out of all contexts. That is, no context has the capability to hurt you. No context. He says, now you are aware of what context can do. He says, the goal, the end of this training is this, to come out of all context. To be able to see them, quoting Neville Goddard, anything that is revealed to the light has been disarmed. Now that I know that, oh, they didn't talk to me the way I want to be talked to. Now, there was something that happened 2 weeks ago. Now, it's like I realized instantly I was the one causing the pain to myself. But realizing it, the pain didn't leave me. Now, I now said to myself, no, the pain will not leave me, but that the pain will ultimately go. But now, unlike before, I am not trying to wish something else on the person, trying to do a revenge, trying to think that somebody has hurt me. No, it's myself. I hurt myself. I'm taking the responsibility. I hurt myself. Now, when I was talking here at Latif Jakande Academy on Monday, I said, even if I have to cry, I cry. See, have you seen yours? Have you ever cried and you're happy you are crying? I am happy because creative destruction. I'm destroying this, personal destruction is going on. Now I'm crying, but I know personal destruction is going on. And right now, unlike before, when I was not aware, when I was very unconscious, and I blame people, I blame everybody but me, blame the weather, blame the government, and those blames could go on for days or weeks. But now, because I know it's me, the pain doesn't, this last one I just said, Tunde, it will ultimately go. But if the intensity was 5/5 in the morning, by the evening, it was 2/5. By the next day, I woke up and I had forgotten. I said, Tunde, this is a new one. That this can just happen and nothing else. You just, once something is brought to light, the power of that thing is taken away. Once you are now aware that a classmate of mine called me, the company is working in VR. He went to, he was speaking with, can you imagine, if you know my age, he's speaking to a director in the company. And he's trying to explain something to him. He's not getting it. If you don't get it, just cut the phone. I saw my phone ringing. I didn't pick. I said, I'm not in the mood to pick this guy's phone. Then after he was calling me again. He said, do you know what this guy did to me? You know this guy? I said, what's going on? What's going on? He said, he hung up on me. inside me, but I couldn't say it. It's your model of reality that is hurting you. The next thing, when he changed the phone to video, he was crying. 60-year-old man. He was crying. He said, nobody has cut the phone on me once in my life. And woman says, I was looking at him and I said, tell him it is his model of reality. I said, you better not do that. That you will cause an earthquake here. I said, you can look for another opportunity. Maybe in a week's time, you might just want to send him this article and bring up this discussion. But to say that you are going to say it, because he's so far from the knowledge from which you are trying to introduce. So this is, I have never, look, in my life, with my prestige, in my position, with my education, I've said nothing. He has a doctorate from Unilag. Nobody has ever done this to me. Yes, they will do it to you now. Who are you? There are times I'll tell myself, so who are you? They will do it to you. First, the work you need to do. Look, you need to get results, not all this grammar. Face the work, which the context you set up, the context excluded says that people should not talk to you the way they want to talk to you. So now you know how you have pre-trained your model. Now that awareness has brought light. So what has it done? It has disarmed that you are now aware. It has disarmed the force of not being aware. Now, you see, there are so many models. There was something that was happening to me last week, and I was listening to Neville Goddard. I'm sure you've heard this phrase in my mouth before. All the world is a stage, Shakespeare, and all men are just actors in the stage. I've known it for maybe that quote for about 6 years. In the last 2 weeks, I heard Neville Goddard say something. He said, all the world is a stage, and men are acting parts in the stage. And God is the one playing the role that every man is playing. Is God inside the man playing that role? This is not a secular. Neville Goddard, I mean, for a long time until today, a lot of churches don't like hearing the name Neville Goddard. That is a mystic. And once, you see, all models are possible models. When I used it on a situation where it looked like there is a company I'm doing some consulting for in VI, it looked like this guy is being wicked. Suddenly, I said, God, what are you trying to show me? If you are the work inside this man. Now, just by changing my model of reality, my experience of the situation changed. The way I thought about the situation, that it's God working inside all men, playing the movie called life, and we are mere interpreters. No. But no matter what you are going through, it is the filters you have set that are bringing that result. Remove one of the filters, add one, disarm all the filters, and you will just see that the pain is not there. All right. Is Noruwa around? I don't think Noruwa is around. She's not. Okay, she promised me that she wants to sit on the witness seat of the job loss. So let's see whether we can finish that this morning. So it was the last part of the class last week. So somebody is living in London and has lost his or her job, and not all of us here know the context of living in London with a work permit, and if you have no job after 6 months, your residency is likely to be revoked. So you are unable to sleep. And in being, we say you are the one causing that. So who want to sit on the witness stand? Somebody to volunteer to take the question and answer. Who wants to stay in a conversation that wants to say, I'm the one that lost the job, and the person will come up with why it's paining him or her, then I will ask questions, then all of us will learn from it.
if I take that position, coach, my mind is already made up. My mind is already made up of what I want to say. So I will be subjective to
Okay,
the issue.
take it, let's say. So describe what you are going through. Just describe it.
I will be subjective, coach.
Just describe it. Don't worry. If it's not working, others will come and help me and you. What is paining you in the job loss? Why can't you sleep?
That's why I say I'm already taking the position. I am sleeping in the job loss.
Okay. All right, you are sleeping. So is there anybody that was
this man, I forgot him from Tibet. He said, if you can solve the problem, solve it. If you cannot solve the problem, rest. He said, either way, you will collapse. If you want to force yourself on something you cannot solve, you will collapse. So that statement I heard from him gave me a whole lot of thought. Any problem you cannot solve, don't kill yourself over it. If you can solve it, so if you cannot solve it, leave it. That's it.
Okay. Byron Katie has this simplified way of simple model of helping people. He said there are 3 businesses that govern the earth. My business, the things I can make decisions or take control. Your business, if I'm thinking about you, how you talk to me, Byron Katie says you have left your business and you have entered another person's business. He says then the third one is God's business. Sometimes he will ask somebody who is saying I'm hurtful, when I was 12, my mom or my dad abused me, did that. He says, sweetheart, the first thing they are supposed to abuse you. And he likes doing his revolutionary method of turn it around. They are supposed to abuse you. The person will be looking. He says the should and shouldn't. He says, how do I know they are supposed to abuse you? Because there's a way she gesticulates. Because they did. Don't argue whether Second World War should have happened. It should have happened because it happened. Don't argue whether you should be fired. If you are already fired, then it happens. Then you should be fired. So the first thing is something I posted on the group is accept from Eckhart Tolle, acceptance that you have accepted. You say accept it and come to. You see, the thing we are fighting with reality. Our own model doesn't agree with the model that has shown up. Okay, this is the model that has come from this other side. And that's the model now. And this is the way my model takes it. This is the way. What can come out of this model? I can come out of this model. All right, Noruwa, you are here. Are we ready? Okay, the floor is yours.
Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good morning.
teammates. Sorry, I know that we have been taught a lot of things, but sometimes when things happen, in the middle of the heat of the thing, I want to receive this kind of class that we're learning. Because if this week only, for instance, there was a situation that came up, I wanted to beat somebody upside their head because I was so angry. What happened though? I took, it's not like I there's a process we normally do, like when someone wants to have a program, I have the right to like give the space out with my last boss. So, but with the new boss that came in, because what happens with that one is I just tell him, okay, this person is going to use this space for a program or a meeting, and then he'll just be aware. Now, this scenario now is that the new boss is, because from as far as my own personal opinion is, he's just a politician and likes to kiss ass. So we had a clash of events where senior level management people fixed a program that now intercepted another high level but not the same organization person who's having a meeting. And I mentioned it to him that these people are going to use this space just for one day, but our other high level people can continue using the space the whole week. I mentioned it way before, and he heard me and said, okay, not a problem. Then on the D-Day of the event, the first day of the event, it turned out that, okay, our own high level bosses are like, okay, they want to use the same space. And they told him. And then he couldn't even just say, oh, these people already pre-booked before the event and the rest and the rest. And what he came to say to me is that, why did I not say it to him? I'm like, seriously? I'm looking at him like, seriously, like, I told you and I mentioned it to you, so I didn't object. Why is it now that everybody is tense and everything is, high pressure that you're talking about me not telling you? I told you, I said it in front of everybody, like, I told you this thing. He said, no, I said it in passing. Oh, Jesus. I turned red. Normal me before, sir, I will shout there. But I was almost going to shout because how did I cause this one now? So if we say happens now and they want to fire, they will fire me. Oh. So how will the pain not come? The pain is supposed to come. The pain came. Oh. The pain came. I tried to interpret. I could not interpret this thing in any way like this. I was going crazy. But somehow I was mad. In fact, I was visibly mad. The only difference before now and then is I did not rake. Before I would rake. So this one now, how did I cause it? I don't think sometimes this thing works. So sorry, sir. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, first of all, this is now it's not really my job to say how anybody causes it too. I'm very honest, but the truth is that it's from what we've learned on filters, it's too evident. I just want to once you started talking, I wrote something there. You usually call him what? A politician and one that likes to kiss the ass. Now, just what you label your subordinate or your boss can give you a lot of problems. It's the same glass I'm wearing now. It determines what I see from him. It determines what I get from him. Now, every relationship you work with, what have you labeled them as? Now, I was speaking on Monday in Alausa and I said, go to hbro.org. Just type in labels. You will get over 100 articles. One of the most famous, Beware of Labels. Once you label me something, you don't hear anything I talk again other than the labels. And if you've read Realizing Mental Resilience, it is not a 6-year-old son comes, Tunde, see your big head. I think, wait, hey, go and meet your mom. Now, if my mate tells me, see your big head, the words are the same. The interpretation is not the same. Now, I'm only responsible for one, not the word said, but the interpretation. Now, first of all, you have given this person a label. So the same thing the person does, think of your best friend in the organization you are working now. If your best friend did the same thing, person that you think in your mind is your paddy, he's always looking after your interest. If he tells you to eat shit, you will eat it with so much joy. But if the one that is, he's a politician and likes to kiss the ass, as he's calling you, what is this politician calling me? I'm not ready for politics today. What is he calling me for? So that is my take. Okay. Omojere, the floor is yours before I'll continue.
Coach, I think we label people because of their relationship with us and what they do to us. You won't just wake up and label people because most times something would have happened before you label somebody. I have tried as much as possible to work with people without labeling, but some people will still give you names that you will label them with based on their action. So it is not about we, sir. Like Madam Harriet said, me, I not change 100% too. There are some things that will never change based on my background, based on my environment, based on my culture. Those things will not change because they are static in me. It's not that they are bad because I know these are the protective mechanism of my values. And I can't change them because I travel to somewhere. I can't change them because I am staying somewhere. I can't change them because I am liking somebody. I can't change them because I am working. Because these are the things that makes me relevant and these are the things that makes me unique. And once that thing that makes you unique, they are out of the way. Your uniqueness will fade away. And that is one of my own kind of ideology of growing up. So these people in the office, there are people in the office. They already have, if like no matter how you paint them good, in your conscience you have them good, you talk good about them, they are still bad. However, I will not allow their own attitude to affect me. In fact, what I don't know, was it Oge that spoke just now? Similar thing happens to me. Something my boss was wrong was the one accusing me. And I was looking at him, I stood. He knew normally I would have raked. I was just looking at him later. Later, he called me later. I said, hey, Mr. Mojo, come. And that thing that we said, that sorry, that the way I reacted, I knew I didn't react well. I was looking at him. After the shouting and insult, and it was one that was wrong. I got say, sir, you know why I didn't want to argue with you then? Because it's a simple logic. It's look at my phone. Look at when I sent you this message. The message that you were trying to say, I didn't send you. I said, sir, this is phone. At least thank God phone don't lie. Look at the date I sent you. He said, but did you tell me when you sent me that you sent me? You see where he was putting it now? I was looking at him. I said, sir, I didn't send you a message, but you said I should send you this information. I sent you. And you have read it. It's acknowledged. He said, then you should have reminded me now. Now, after shouting at me, you put it now. Then another time again, he came again and shouted at me and later called me again. So I was looking at, what is this man? Me now, I have labeled him. So I called somebody that is close to both of us. I said, this is my label. He said, I said, no, this is what I have labeled him. So I didn't label him because that is my preconceived notion about him. I labeled him because I felt this is who he has made me to label him. So people are called by the name they give to themselves. And Isoko song will say, let me just use it as Isoko and interpret it. He said, he said, it is the name that you give to yourself. When you get to a level, it is the name that you give to yourself. People call you. The transliteration is not the name that your parents give to you, people call you. It is the name that you give to yourself. So in working, it is the way those people relate to us, we give them name. That is my own ideology about this. So they've given us how to think about them, and we think that way about them and give them that name. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Adunayo, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, I just wanted to add to the conversation. And first, I think one of the most important thing of these meetings is that we are able to, just the things we read, we see it come to life when we have these conversations, because everybody has different opinions, and everyone, of the same matter, and it's so interesting seeing that happen. And it's a safe space where we can share, provide our different opinions, and everybody goes home, better, because Oge and Mr. Jowe's position, a position you can decide to adopt when it's going to give you the needed impact. Your position and mine too is also a position you can adopt, And so the context I wanted to add is, what we have learned from labels is that labeling in itself is not a bad thing. But what label are you using? Is that label what is going to give you the desired results? If labeling him a politician would only lead to you seeing everything he does from the position of politician, do you want to change the label? So what we have learned, I know in previous classes, that label is not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to question the labels that you give to people and confirm whether that label is correct. And I'm saying so because I work in a pseudo public service. It's not public service, it's transiting from public to private, but you have a lot of behavior of public, and so you work with people who can be political. In fact, to drink water, they will consider 150 different people who should be considered in that drinking water. You want to set up a committee, you will think of all the union people, you think of interest in everything. And so that understanding of label is what has helped me. In fact, leaving this role, one of my people said, I pity who will come and take over this your role, because the wisdom with which you use to handle, and I can first thank God, but also the teachings we have gotten from these sessions has greatly impacted. So I say that, yes, while he has given you a position to call him a politician, looking at him as a politician, will it help you have a better relationship with him? If it will not, then maybe you should look for a much better label. Because when you were speaking, that was the first thing I also picked from him. And it's not like it's a bad thing, but if you have to work with him as closely as possible, do you want to think of a different label that you give him, that when he behaves, you don't call him politician? So that's the context I just wanted to add to it. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adunayo. Harold, the floor is yours. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I just want to chip in some things. What you always say, there are some things you cannot change. I just remember what one prayer I used to say: God help me to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference between the things I can change and the things I cannot change. When I worked in my organization, maybe it's about 50 years ago. In those days, if you put jollof rice, carry your jollof rice and you put it in the microwave, the wife will say, offensive, offensive, offensive. And I was just wondering, I said, look, these guys, they don't accept my food. That means they don't really accept me. They don't even accept me for who I am. So I stopped bringing in all those food. But after a time, there was this thing about inclusiveness just coming up. That organization, for you to have, in a diverse organization, very happy from different backgrounds, you need to be inclusive. You need to accept people for what they are. The thing was just going on. And so we formed a organization called Cultural Change, cultural, that people should bring in their culture, should not be ashamed of their culture, their food and everything. And it became accepted. This year, I I was asked to, we did a cultural day, and I brought in the jollof rice, moi moi, and if you see, they all accepted. They ate it. In fact, they sponsored it. My organization was sponsored it, and a lot of people came. They ate the food. They enjoyed it, and we from manager down to the gate line. And I won an award even said they said, okay, you're going to give an award on the 6th, for all of this because I dressed with my bowler hat and everything, and it was really very good. So I saw the end and said, look, thank you very much, I mean, for bringing this type of culture into the organization. That once in a while, once upon a time, I couldn't even bring my food to the office. Now you are giving me money to bring my food for everybody to celebrate it. And that's organization changing because they knew the importance of diversity and inclusivity in getting to the goal they want to go to. Everybody had to think the same, accept each other, think as one. So we as individuals, we should have that capacity to reinvent ourselves. If you read that Tracy Goss book on the Declaration of Power, it talked about the capacity that human being you have the power to change. And then I just put that, I was just remembering some testimonies that is coming out from NSPPD, how people have been able to change through certain things, maybe the things they want, they put the photo, like pregnant women, they dress like pregnant women and declare I'm pregnant and all those things. So, and that is only what we are trying to do here, to change, to better ourselves, to declare that we are somebody, who can make a difference. And that's why, honestly, I believe we can change for good. You know, we can change for positive progress and growth. And the thing will come from us. It comes from within, from changing our filters, from changing the things that we see that are not good and declaring it, and even influencing others, people in our families and friends. This is like, how do I call it now? A wind of change that is brought by you, coach. And I believe that if we accept it very well, we can reinvent ourselves and take our family to the next level. That's just my take on this.
Thank you very much. Queen, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Coach.
Good
Okay,
morning.
sorry. One thing I wanted to say is this. I believe in this being class. There's something we are missing. And what we are missing is personality. We seem to forget that personality makes up our being. In being, we are beginning to separate emotions from what we do, but we forget to understand that we are different. There are different personalities. And when you remove the emotions, then you see the personality better. So for Oge, she said her boss is a political guy. I would not say he's a political guy. As Mr. Odunayo said, he might not be political. He's just that he considers everybody. And then after that, he forgets what he does. We discussed one time in our class about people that do things and in coma. They're in coma, living in coma. Some people forget that they have done that thing or said that thing. And then when they come back to you, they begin to scold you because in their head, they did never say that thing. But in reality, they did. Okay, so that's living in coma. And also, there are people that kind of use other people to cover themselves. They use you as an excuse. Oh, it's not my fault. She did it. Oh, it's not my fault. He did it. There's some of their personality. That's how they are. That's just how they are molded. So when you begin to see people for their personality, their true personality, you will understand better what being class is all about. Being is not for you to change anything. Being is, as we said, unlearn every damn thing you learned since you were a child and begin to relearn. And then when you begin to relearn, you now begin to redo or begin to do better. When you unlearn, when you see someone being political in the office, trying to please everybody, and then make you the fall guy, you know this is his personality. He wants to have favor. He's a favor buyer. Well, in our towns, we call it ass kissers. You might call it that, but actually they're favor buyers. They love to please everyone. And then when they're pleasing one person and it's going against the next group, you become the fall guy. They accuse you. You do not tell them early. So when you see it that way, it shouldn't pain you. It shouldn't get you angry. Just know that he's trying to manipulate the situation using you. So if you begin to see things this way and understand the being better, the being of other people, not just our being now, because in a being class, you're not learning about yourself, you're learning about other beings. You know how to manipulate every situation you enter better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Amojere, quick one.
Thank you very much, Queen. That's a very interesting one. I have something against it. Well, thank you for the notes and the videos you sent to me. They were very helpful in my presentation. I'm very grateful.
God.
So, yeah. So, well, from what you said, I did personality traits as a journalist because we're taught personality so that when we're going to see people, we know what to do with them. You may go and see somebody that is harsh. How do you interrogate that person? Maybe you want an information, and that information is the only one. You have no choice as a journalist to get him, no matter how bad it is. So they will teach us personality. That is as a profession. Now, as a person, there are some traits that we know that are toxic. As in being class, even no matter how I want to unlearn, some people are toxic. That relating with them, they are problematic. But the way I used to, maybe because of my professional background, I had to say, okay, because I was taught this to relate with them. Because if I want to see an Agbero who has a very vital information, no matter what, I have to dress like him. I have to get to that park. I have to speak like him. I have to participate in his activities, and I have to get that information and return back to my boss. But I don't need to remain there. That is just it. Now, there are some traits, personality traits, that we know are very cantankerous. They are very dangerous. And those traits, this person that is doing it, this your boss, should also know that this trait that I'm putting up is not good. Now, what you just said, now I just worked last week. I was working 13 hours at a stretch because there was a work given to a prof and I was a junior person among them. I was the one doing the work. You know, this work took me longer time. Why? All the department that are supposed to submit their reports refused to do that within the strict time. So I told the prof, I said, why not report to the vice chancellor? He said, Moji, you know you don't need to hurt people. I said, but you are hurting me. I said, you are hurting me, sir. He said, no. I said, no, you are hurting me because this work I'm doing, I have finished my own particular work, the assignment of the directorate. I finished the work because I'm the junior person on Saturday. I will work till 7 in the morning to 13. In fact, he told me, say, I've never seen a person that work right. So on Monday, I just got angry. I said, sir, if these things are not ready, because I was to travel on Monday to a conference, I said, if these things are not ready today, sir, I bet you I will leave it. And if they ask me, I will tell them, you play politics with this thing. The man looked at me. He said, Mojo, he's an elderly man. I said, yes, sir, that's what I just told you. Because I said that you've used 1 week. People that are supposed to submit their document, these things are supposed to be with them since. It is now they remember they should do it. And you know that everything came out that day. I have to put up another attitude, even though it's my superior. And he also has to put up another and send to them and said, if this is not ready by so time, I will call the vice chancellor. Everybody sit up. I finished the work that day. I ran to 10 in the night. from 7 in the morning to 10 in the night, and we submitted that work that day. If I didn't put up that attitude, I was okay. It is straight. You want everybody to be happy. Me, I will not travel the next day. I say, sir, I'm supposed to travel the next day. And I had to travel. Because sometimes when we say it is straight, let him be. That trait will put you into trouble too. So some people traits are bad. They will affect you negatively. So you correct their trait also so that they will not affect you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
Queen.
sir. I want to respond to that. Sorry. I did not say you should allow him use his trait. I said do not allow his trait to manipulate you. If we don't have trait, we do not have what we call narcissism or bipolar. Okay. So when you have people that, okay, this is a narcissistic human being, you know how to handle him. That is why you're having being. You learn how to go around his being by using your own being. It is all mental work. If you now say, oh, he's a narcissistic person, and just allow him, then you are killing your being because you are now becoming the lesser person and accepting everything he's giving to you. But when you understand someone's personality, you now become a higher person and know how to make his being. Now, that is where you use the Machiavelli attitude. Make his being work for you instead of your being working for him. That's my point. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So this is my take. And like I always say, so it's also a personal take. In sessions like this, my own is not the right one. Your own is not the wrong one. So sometimes, whether you put a label or not, your mind has a way it sees people, which is a context it has created. Now, the problem is not, if you're really thinking about it, is back to self-awareness. And one of the greatest things you can have in leadership or anything is self-awareness. Now, when you are able to catch yourself, the context that you are coming from, the context that made you label me, give me the label. Now, like I said earlier on, uncovering your source of power is not deleting it. It is not it's not preferring another person's own. But something Tracy Gore said in the last word on power, he says, when you get to this stage, rather than your context using you, you use your context. And if you get that thing, it will be a game changer for you for today's class. Rather than your context using you, you start using your context. Now, the story of Omojoye just told now, when he took an attitude of, look, this thing has to be done. I'm traveling tomorrow, said the thing was done. Now, you can't always be, if you choose one specific, see where we get road accidents or life accidents. One, we think that personality is something fixed for the rest of our lives. Now, when you look at personality as a jacket you wear, if what I'm wearing now doesn't suit the occasion, I will pull it. So when Tracy Gore says, come out of all models of being, of models of strategy or whatever, uncovering your winning strategy, come out of all winning models for you. Now, if you remember one of the articles we started being with as far back as January or December, Steve Chandler, where Hadison said, if you need to be Bruce Lee to get this thing done, be Bruce Lee. Now, in that case, you are using a context, not the context using you. A context is using you where you are unconscious and you're always reacting and you are the same person all the time. When you look at it, this one will not work. You know what Paul said, if I borrow a little bit from the Bible? He said, I have become all things to all men. Not one, no one works. I am all of them. If this is the context I will come from, and I will get what I want. Now that takes me to another one of the classes we have again. What do you want? Look, in my teachings on Monday this week, I think one of the most powerful things that all the participants left with is, what do you want? Told the story of a woman who argued and in attempt to win an argument with the husband, finally lost the marriage, but she won this thing. After I finished it, there was a woman in the class. She was visibly displeased with that example. She now stood up and said, what if I want to win the argument? And when she said it, the next thing I said, then go for it. The whole class erupted in laughter. Go for it with all energy. Make sure you win. Now, that is the truth. In what she wants to win. That is what is important to her. People have lost job. They want to win the argument. They want to win this. Like in that same class on Monday, I told of a company secretary that I had to coach in VI. Her this thing was to win. I said, look, that's your salary. Would you rather win? I thought asking her that question would make her say she's not good. Would you rather win and lose this amount of money and go into the job market? She was quiet for a while. It took her nearly 1 minute, then she replied, I prefer to win. Finish. The question, now for me, I would think, oh, she said something wrong. No, she didn't say anything wrong. What do you want? Now, Vic, I'll recognize this one. If I go back to, okay, now if she started with what she wants, if leaving the label as it is will help her develop the arsenal to get what she wants, she should leave it. If the label as it is will not help her get what she wants, she should delete the label, that label. Now, it's going to be contextual. And remember, being is all about the context. When you be self-awareness, you are now seeing the context that is driving you in this particular situation. No. Whether you want to fire a subordinate, whether you want to argue with a director, whether it's to a superior, if you are able to be self-aware and uncover the context, what really matters to you. I was talking to somebody after the class, I said, the woman who told me, what if you want to win? I said she got the most out of the class. Whatever she left with, she got the most. What do you really want? If it is to win and you don't care whatever else, that is what you should go for. Me and not everybody on the face of the earth are looking for the same outcome. My outcome is to win. My outcome is to, Mr. Omojewe said something. When he wants to interview Agberus, he has to go to their levels. That was what Paul did. When Paul said, I have become all things to all men. He cannot remain an apostle. Apostle Paul talking, when he's talking to a prisoner, it's a different thing. When he's talking to this, he's a different person. I have become all things to all men. You have to become. Now, you look at the Agberu. I think I was talking about Paul once in the book of Acts. When he looked at the crowd and he saw that being a Jew, being a Gentile, we say men are brethren and a Hebrew. He got to another place and said he was a Jew. Now, he was looking at the context. Who of them will give me freedom? Now, you are going to look at your arsenal. Now, you can't be a manager, a leader, a CEO, and it's always Mr. Nice, Mr. Nice. There were some firings in my office 2 months ago. No, the people didn't believe I would do it. I'm not the person that I was a week before the firing. I wasn't that person. Now, if I needed to do the firings, I needed to be another person. I had to be that person. I had to construct myself before I left. It took me 3 days to construct the personality, construct even the context of the firing, because that is what I wanted to do. Vic, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry, the light's too much here. But thanks for this coaching sessions. Is really impacting not only me, I'm sure for all of the teammates. We are learning a lot and we are trying to relearn our being. I want to touch on the part of reasoning, the reason why we do things. We do things because of what we have we have learned through our life. Like Mr. Kabare said, especially for us parents who moved to UK with our children, there are certain things that we want them to do that they are not doing. But we have brought them in a separate environment. They are not living in an environment that we grew up. Although those things that was done to us made us to be a better human being and made us to want our children to excel. But we have brought them to a world stage where we want them also to excel. If you pull them back to that village or to that our native place that we came out from, although those things helped us, they are living in another generation. Our parents that trained us, most of them didn't enter train. Most of them didn't enter. So they were teaching us from what they know. And we have moved to a new place. And I said, sorry for this is my native language. Somebody who travels, not only traveling and moving from, even in trying, like you said about Paul, he put himself into different situations and he was able to win. If, like I think Oge said, my Oga, he's this kind of thing, I have known who he portrays himself to be. I will put out an email to him, maybe 2 days or 1 week to that. Remember, we have booked that hall for one group to use only for 1 day, and the rest will be carried by it. Just put it in writing, put it to notice, even put it where other people will see. With that way, you are checkmating the person. The person will not go to the hindsight, I forgot. You didn't make, then argument will, because it's actually, when you have a good mind or a good heart, you will be pained by how people change things within a couple of seconds. Because you are good. They say when you are wise, you bear the burden of idiots around you. In a place where everybody are bad, and you are the good one, you will be pained by what they do. So sometimes take yourself out of the situation by making things plain, and that will help all of us. I'm really, I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Okabare again for bringing me into this, because it's an eye-opener. It's life-giving, it's life-saving. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vic. Thank you. Okay, Mercy, the floor is yours.
Okay, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good morning.
everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for these sections. It really means a lot to me. I've been listening, right? I just want to ask a question. Because I've noticed more than once now, right? So a situation where you join an organization, you just come into a company, got a new job, a new offer, and somebody talked about, one of the speakers talked about we having our own personalities that makes us unique. Like, it is our different personality that gives us our own uniqueness, even though we also have to be careful to make sure that what we call personality is not a result of some past experience or traumas and all of that. But then I understand the fact that everybody has different personality, and that kind of also gives us our uniqueness. And so you have this uniqueness that works for you, right? And then you come into an organization where there is usually, almost every time, a pattern and a method of behavior, right? Which is completely against your personality, like, which is not something that you tend to do naturally, right? But then when you continue in your own way, it now look as if you are the antagonist in the I don't know, but I'm noticing, so people get threatened by you doing things your own way. Like, why are you not doing things the way everybody is doing things? Like, why are you not doing what everybody is doing? So I'm asking, how do you create that balance to ensure that you don't lose yourself because you want to belong, but still be able to carry yourself or carry everybody along? Or I don't know if you get my question, sir.
I get your point. Question.
Yeah, because okay, so you understand where this is, where I'm coming from, why it's very important to me right now. So I just got a new job, right? And it's a managerial role. So I'm brand communications manager for my company, right? And it's a really big company. In fact, when I was even getting the job, I didn't know it's this big. Like, I didn't know my responsibilities is this big. But then I'm coming and I'm meeting people who are already there. Some people believe that they are the gatekeepers of of a company. So they want you to acknowledge, which is not an issue, acknowledging that, oh, this person has some excellence here. But then I want to also be careful so that I don't give people the opportunity to make my work difficult, because I'm here to do my job and I'm here to get results. So I don't want a situation where, because I'm trying to play along, my work is now lagging behind. So how do I balance that, where I'm able to do my thing using my method, which I know always work for me, but then I don't step on toes. Like, it's not like, I know at some point you have to still just stand your ground, right? But then I because this is not the first time this is happening, I don't want all those unnecessary frictions. I feel like I can manage this, right, and be able to carry people along. But I just, yeah.
Okay. So anyone is free to contribute. So before hands come up, I'll give you my own contribution. Okay, Omojowe, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm talking too much today. I have to justify most of the things I'm saying. Now, for what you said, my former colleague used to call me delegator general. He said, you know how to delegate work. And any assignment I'm giving, the assignment is perfectly done from time. And I discovered that, I say, with all the teams I'm working at, the first thing I do whenever I lead any group is to understand everybody's personality. There are people who wants to be in the forefront, and I will give you that responsibility to do. But one thing I've learned also is to learn to coin my statement to fit into the purpose of what we are doing as a leader. Because one thing I discover is that if you meet people there, you cannot just come and overshadow them, whether you like it or not. One, there are company policies, you have to obey them. Whether you are doing your being now, you have to be what the company wants you to be, because they're the one paying you. Though you have your stand. Then secondly, those people that are working with you, what are their traits? There was a project we did when I was in Corona College of Education. We built a Lubeju Primary School toilet for the teachers, about 4 toilets, and we fixed the pumping machine. I was the head of Governors Forum then. Now, we did that project. I never came to the site. I never saw the site. It was Lagos State Commissioner for Education then I came to. I never got there. And that thing cost issue. So the dean was school was asking, how did you do it? I said, I don't need to. I just know that I had a classmate who was the director in Erica. I called him. I said, you are a director in this company. You're into it. He said, yes. Please send one of your engineers to go and check this project. He went there, checked. I said, send it, because he sent it. I sent it to the governor's platform and sent it to the dean. They checked it. I said, okay, we contributed the money we gave to them, to the engineer. He went and he fixed everything. The commissioner came. I didn't even step there one day. I don't know. They did the plaque, and it was a very commendable project. Until today, they said they've not beat it. So he said, how did you do it? I said, I don't need to go there. In that team you have, there are people who are good with documentation. There are people who are good with organization. Now, in leadership, they will teach us the 5 vowels of leadership. Teammate. The A, they say there are those people that are the active people. They are being active. The E, those are the energizers. Those people that can push for something. They may not be active, but they may push you to do it. We have the I, those are people with ideas. They have all the ideas, but they are not active. They don't do anything, but they will give you all the ideas you need. We have the O, those are the organizers. When things are done, those are people that will put everything. We have the U, those are the unnoticed. They don't recognize them. But when you need them, you will be shocked at what they do. So if we don't know the people we have, we will be doing this alone. One thing in organizations I have learned over time in leadership, learn to use everybody's skills. Everybody have special skills. The head of a leader is not that you know more than everybody, just that you are able to harness their potentials and let them be productive. So since you have come to this big place now, sit everybody down, have a chat with them, discuss with them, note their capabilities, know their capacity. What can you do? Then you task them to do it. And you have to talk to them also in a way that you can convince them, because that's why you must use communication to persuade people to do what you want. At the end of the day, people don't know one thing. No matter how forefront you are, who is the head of the unit, who they respect, not who does the job, is the head of the person that does that work that they respect. So you can look into inward and check your team, utilize each of their capacity, you will get a proper result. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Dr. Austin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning. I've not been here for a long while. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for making it this morning.
Yeah, it's been an interesting conversation. I wanted to write on what Mr. Mojoro was saying, but I want to put in a different perspective. The spirit that I heard the lady who asked the question said that she had her ways of doing things, and she wants to stick to her ways of doing things. Unfortunately, if you don't take time, you may fail in this new environment, because there's nothing like your ways of doing things. Yes, I agree, you have your values, but you must align your whatever you are doing with the culture of the new place you found yourself. So the first thing is that you have to understand their culture. I define organizational culture as the way organizations solve problems. So they'll be solving problems, in a particular way, and you have to understand how they communicate, how the behaviors around, addressing issues, so that you can either fit in and gradually change that culture. I'll give you an example. I was reading a case study where somebody was appointed as the CEO of one of the Fortune 500 companies, and when she got there, her own way of communicating is email. She gives instructions by email and things get done where she was coming from. But in this new company, people communicate with WhatsApp, and that's how they get things done. But she wanted to be sending emails. As she was sending emails and giving instructions, nobody was doing it, but people were reading the emails. Don't see what's happening. I was getting really frustrated, trying to fire a few people, trying to insist that everybody must use email as a way. But she was not finding it difficult, she was not finding it easy at all, because there was also obviously a natural resistance to that kind of change. So when she got back to her coach told her very simply that you must understand how these people solve their problems. They are already used to WhatsApp as a way of communicating. You have to start from there and gradually change them to email if you think email is better. But you must give a reason for that change. So the question is that you have to understand how things are done there. Then if you have a better way, you have to find a way to introduce your better way. But you must flow with them first and then improve on the standard they have and then introduce a new standard if you want to do that. I'm talking about changing ways of doing things and changing culture. But you standing alone and saying, this is my own way of doing things, and I want to achieve it this way, you will face a lot of resistance and you may be very frustrated. If you remember when if you ever grew up in the village or grew up in the suburbs, you know that when your mother, your father goes to the market and buys any cock or chicken to the house and drops it at home, the first thing he does is to stand with one leg. He starts with one leg first and looks at everywhere. It's when he's confident enough that he drops the other leg and starts walking around. You must start with one leg and observe the culture of the place and understand it before you start getting to change things your way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Austin. So Dr. Austin leads an organization of over 700 people. So I hope you got something from there. Now, just along the line Dr. Austin was talking about, that's where I was going to. You say your way. The first thing, this is a being class, the first thing is to really go and construct yourself a manager. And like you said, the organization is bigger than you anticipated. Go and construct yourself a manager of that size of company or bigger. Now, when you construct yourself as a manager and a leader, now in the process of construction, when we say being before doing, you will see that one of your job is to harness what these people have. Your job is not to be who you have always been. Like I said, quoting Tracy Goss, the last word on power, it is to come out of all strategies that you know. Now, when you come, you recognize them, even if you are operating from it, self-awareness, you see yourself. You see yourself when you are practicing a lot of what we are doing in the practice of self-awareness, you are seeing yourself and the context you are coming from. Now, so if you are seeing yourself in the context, no, I don't want this, I don't like this, I must do my things, I must be myself. No, just quickly step it down. That will allow you hear the people. You said something when you were talking. You said one of the persons you've met in this new organization, he wants to be acknowledged. As a manager, that is one of your duties, to acknowledge people, to make them look better than they are without you. Now, you are not competing with them. You're already the leader of that unit. To make them better, because you want to harness what is in them. Harnessing them is not going, look, like Dr. Austin says, if you fight, I know a bank in Lagos, I don't want to mention the name. It's sold now, it's defunct. The last MD before another bank acquired it, the MD going to call the bank that acquired it to come and acquire this thing. He was fighting with 7 directors concurrently. He got tired. He dropped one of the directors he was able to release. He brought in a GM to replace him. That GM became one of the people he will fight. When you start a fight, then say, this is who I am. One of the things you will learn in being, not all context win all the time. You are always sensitive. It's back to what you want. What do you want to harness these people at their maximum potential? So not to show that you know book more than them, not to show that you made first class, not to show that you want to harness what is in them. Now, how am I going? That is the goal. When the goal is set, what do I want? Which is a class we've had previously. You set you want to use Uber, the position where you are going. No matter the hold up, ultimately there is a place the car is going. Once you set your destination to improve performance, to improve productivity, to do this, you've listed all the things you want to achieve. Now, the next thing is how to get there, how to bring the people, not how, when you start fight and you can't handle it. My sister, it's not an easy one. Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, sir. Just a quick contribution here. I really can relate to your feedbacks because in my team, I mean, being an Igbo girl in a northern context, at some point I had to even start to put on a jab. I had to start to draw lele on my, just to connect with my team members and all that. However, where I have a bit of a roadblock in my head is, okay, now I'm able to work with my junior team members as well. Remember, I said earlier sometime that I also report to management and I need to navigate that space. The management is such a tough space that it's highly political. I think I mentioned that to you. So there are gatekeepers. I heard has mentioned gatekeepers as well that you need to double to or kind of give allegiance to. So where my roadblock comes in and I need some kind of help with navigating this is where my principles, not necessarily like the principles that make me up as a human being is being breached. For instance, where I have to, lie because someone up there is expecting me to lie. This kiss ass thing is prevalent and I've never done it and I can't learn it right now because I feel like I'm too old to do that. It will also go at it will, yes, it will like affect my principles also because at the end of the day when you're having to do that, you end up telling all those lies that you don't want to tell. You end up having to keep quiet for, you not speak the truth. You will not be your own person. You're going to be owned by someone who feels you're a good girl or a bad girl. Those are the gatekeepers that she mentioned. So how do we navigate this part? Yes, you're supposed to be flexible as a leader, as a team lead, harness your team members' skill, strengths and weaknesses to suit the aim of the team, right? But when you have to deal with people who take decisions that would impact your life, and you are in between that bridge that, okay, if you don't dance, you're in trouble for a very long time. And, in this space where I am, if anybody doesn't like you, you are going to be owned by someone who feels you're a good girl or a bad girl. Those are the gatekeepers that she mentioned. So how do we navigate this part? Yes, you're supposed to be flexible as a leader, as a team lead, harness your team members' skill, strengths and weaknesses to suit the aim of the team, right? But when you have to deal with people who take decisions that would impact your life, and you are in between that bridge that, okay, if you don't dance, you're in trouble for a very long time. And, the person takes you internationally with their handover notes to the next international, those kind of things. So how do we get this one out of space? Thank you.
Who wants to contribute? Okay. Okay, Mr. Adunayo, I think your hand is up. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And so, well, I will try to contribute on my own 2 cents and what I interpret the situation to be. So, if there's anything I'm very, very grateful to God for this session is that we come to a point where we all agree that we all see things through our own lens, which may not necessarily be the only way of viewing things. And that gives us, just like you mentioned, that gives us the opportunity to cast off a personality and put on a new personality. When we understand that whatever we say, this is who we are, outside of principles or whatever religion or principles that guide the religion that you practice, you know that you can cast that off and put on whatever is necessary. So what my own concept of this is that who determines whether kissing ass, and not to just to provide context, it is us who has defined that action you are taking is kissing ass. It is you. It's not the action that is kissing ass. It's that you have interpreted that if I do this, it means I am kissing ass. That's the meaning. There was one class that we had, and Coach Tunde was telling us about that the current person of Syria, the one who is represented as the president of Syria, a few months down the line was regarded as a terrorist, and the president of the United States, during that meeting, took him and said, "We are pleased to work with you." How do you interpret that? 4 months ago, or 5 months ago, or 6 months ago, this person was a terrorist, branded a terrorist, and in another 5 months, he's regarded being hailed by or being interacted with by heads of states. Wouldn't you say that is kissing ass? Or we can look at it from that perspective of, oh, this world is, but really there are other underlying interests. The most important thing is, what do you want? I think that's the most important. What do you want? What do you want to achieve? What is important to you? Is the work or the impact of the work, is it valuable to you? Are you learning? Are you growing? Do you need to be in that environment? Will it give you a long-term impact? And I'm reading a book, and it's almost like I should just be taking all the pictures of the book and posting on the book. It's Clear Thinking by Shane Parrish. And he said that people do not intentionally, that it's not in their conscious mind when they take short-term actions that have benefits, but it impacts their long-term benefits. People do not have that consciousness when they do things. So the whole point was just trying to say, just think more long-term. So if you look at it from that perspective, whatever decision you take that does not infract what your religion, and I'm saying religion because people of different faith here, practices, is fine. If a boss says, oh, this is how I want it to be done, and doing it in that way and manner ensures that you have a better relationship with that person, you don't have to consider it as kissing ass. It's only kissing ass because other people are doing it and getting results. So if it was a sin and something that should not be done, people will not be doing it in that manner. So you can also think around it, that what do I want? What sort of relationship do I want with this person? What do I really want to achieve? How can I get to achieving that? And if managing your stakeholders means that another person looks at it and says it's kissing ass, but that's the person's definition of kissing ass. As long as they don't tell you to lie, I know the one about lying. I personally do not agree on that. However, there's a higher dimension to that. There's also how someone can take a look at it and still consider that managing that situation is still understandable. But for me, I've chosen that it's something I will not do. But someone else can come and say, if this short-term benefit to this man gives me my own long-term benefit, of course I will adopt it. So it's more around, what do I want? What do you want to achieve in life? What do you want this situation to give you a long term?
And if you think about it from there, maybe you won't consider these things as kissing ass. It's just these are actions that I need to carry that have a long-term benefit for me. And the moment you can change the thinking or the labeling you have attached to their activity, it becomes easier to do. You won't even consider that you have done this before. And I think this is what we also bring it to marriage and what they teach us, just being able to look at things from what do I really want? And if finally that environment is putting you under pressure based on the thinking you have decided to adopt, you can also vote with your feet, which is to find an alternative organization. But the truth is, no organization will reflect our internal nirvana. You will always have to work around these roadblocks in the path. So it's best we adopt a system that will help us navigate them, than jumping from one organization to another. But I'm looking at the time. I don't want to dwell too much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the last this is past 9, so we are running up in 3 minutes. Okay, quick.
Okay, so just sorry that I just want to clarify and demystify the kissing ass. Okay. No. So for example, yes, no, seriously. So that I'm not quoted out of context, right? Kissing ass in the sense that you're doing something that is not morally right, okay, just to please people that be something that is obviously wrong. It's wrong. For instance, I'm throwing my junior subordinates under the bus just because I want to sound correct. For the example I gave you of the hall, someone could not say, I'm aware that this hall was overbooked. I'm sorry, can I make an alternative? Something like that. So don't get me wrong. It has nothing to do with ego, being humble and respectful and all that. No. Kissing ass is doing something wrong just to sound okay, or quoting something that is impossible to be done, or except somebody is sacrificed for it, just so that you look good. That's my context of kissing ass. So when I get to that, and that has, as I mentioned, principle. My principle is being breached because I know it's morally wrong. It's not right. Okay. And what do I do in order to navigate the space? I don't want to leave the organization just because. Yeah. Over.
All right, thank you very much. So, thank you so much for today's listening, and I think we've covered a lot of ground. And some things that, what did I write there when Mr. Adunayo was speaking? Although Oge came out now, but it's not for the purpose of Oge, just for us. So sometimes even the meaning that we are contesting with, now we have to realize that it is an interpretation that we made. Now, because sometimes we think that this interpretation that we made is sacrosanct. This is higher than Bible. This is it. There is no it. The it is always coming from a context. When we did the session on filters, it's always the filters that you set up in the dating app that is giving you the available girls. And when you delete, the person must come from Ukraine, the number of girls increased by 1,000. The number of options will immediately change. Now, once you realize that what I am saying is me, now it's always me, it cannot be any other one. That is the summary of me. It's always me. It's me, and how do I get to come out of this? Some of us have used personality. Yeah, you can't insist on one personality forever. Somebody asked me something on Monday. What if what you believe goes against what the country believes? I said, no, your being can. I said, I've explained being to you, models of reality as a jacket you put on. You can't put a jacket on that is against the country. Another parent asked me, what if the child puts on a jacket that is against what he wants? I said, no, I've told you I work with teenagers. And one of the things I say, if you want to put on a jacket that is against the home, you have to move out, because jackets exist within jackets. The jacket you are wearing inside of the organization must exist within the organization. No principle, no personality can go against that one. The jacket of the organization must be within the country. And like Mr. Adunayo referred to a previous class, that all these labels, the president of Syria, who is on America's wanted list of terrorists, when Saudi Crown Prince convinced Donald Trump that they need him in the alliance, he brought the guy from Syria. And Trump shook hands with him and removed him from the list. What brought that this thing? what do you want? What do you want? Now, what the US wanted change. As I'm talking to you now, a terrorist nation, Afghanistan, US has, Afghanistan is labeled terrorist nation. Right now, US is negotiating with Afghanistan to use their airplanes as a military post. Now, because they are saying they want to put soldiers there strategically, for whatever strategic reasons they need the airbase for. You will see tomorrow that if you operate from what you need, enemies almost become friends. Why many of us cannot be politicians, we think one line, and sometimes you will be in that line and you will think it's a God-sent line and you will destroy your life. Wow. When you are in PDP and you see that to win, you need to be in APC. You don't know when APC just becomes a beautiful bride in your eyes. Sorry to say this. When you are in APC and you know that whatever, SSP, whatever the name of the Labour just becomes a very beautiful bride. All of that decision is not in the context of Labour, it's in context of what do you want out of life? What do you want to get out of the boss? What do you want to get out of the CEO? What do you want to get out of a manager under you? Now, you are always looking at what you want to achieve. Byron Katie, whom I've cited a bit in the last 3 weeks, she said, okay, we have some of these jackets to help us organize ourselves, what we call personality. But no personality in the world works 100% of the time. I doubt there's even one that works 90% of the time. So self-awareness brings you to the place where you know this one won't work. This way of being won't give me what I'm looking for. This is a mother. So every time the children come from school, they just throw their socks and they go to the room. Byron Katie said she has 4 kids. They are all adults now, married. He said she will talk to them and say the thing always wears her out. For the next 1 hour, she's having migraine. He said, and the children will still not leave their toys. She will still end up picking the socks. I said this was going on. One day she said she had to use turnaround. I am the one responsible for their socks. He said, guess how long it takes me to pick their socks? Less than a minute. Then she's done with picking their socks and this parlor is sitting and she has gone to her bedroom to go and read or to go and watch a movie. He says that the children come out. He said, continue like that for weeks. One day the children just said, no, mommy, leave them. We're going to pick them. Then from a little while later, they started picking it by themselves. They didn't need to do that. But that outcome is not what is important. He had to just, if this model is not working. Now, many of us here who are parents, God, how can we? Now, you think of only one way. Yeah, the way we're raised is beat the children if you don't. There's nothing wrong in that. Is it working? So when you say, I'm going to stick with this personality, it depends on the outcome you have set for yourself. It is not every time you are going to carry your buga, this thing, because you are you've just been made a departmental manager, GM, director. No, it's not all the time. You are going to now create yourself and look at what that thing entails. We'll stop here today. Thank you very much. This is past 9. Thank you for making today's session fun, interactive, and entertaining. Until next Saturday, have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Happy weekend, everybody.
Happy weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed weekend, everyone.
All right.